dialogues@thenation.com. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report, as we move on to more stories within WikiLeaks. Juan?
Well, one of the biggest early revelations from the massive leak of U.S. embassy cables is that the State Department ordered American diplomats to spy on the leadership of the United Nations. The directives were signed by Secretaries of State Condoleezza Rice and Hillary Clinton. On Wednesday, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon met with Hillary Clinton to discuss the matter. While WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has called on Hillary Clinton to resign, White House Press Secretary Robert Gibbs dismissed any wrongdoing on her part and denied that U.S. diplomats engage in spying. Well, one of the instructions in the leaked State Department directive urges diplomats to gather intelligence about, quote, plans and intentions of member states or UN special rapporteurs to press for resolutions or investigations into U.S. counterterrorism strategies and the treatment of detainees in Iraq, Afghanistan, or Guantanamo.
Juan Méndez is the new UN Special Rapporteur on torture and other cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment or punishment. Last month, he called on the United States to investigate and prosecute torture committed under President George W. Bush. He also said he hopes to visit Iraq and Guantanamo to probe widespread torture allegations. Juan Méndez, welcome to Democracy Now! First comment on the WikiLeaks cable that actually would target you. You're one of the special rapporteurs.
Yes, if I understand correctly, these cables are earlier than when I started my term, which is only a month ago. But still, they are kind of puzzling because there's nothing more transparent than what special rapporteurs of the United Nations do and plan. In fact, we all want to have dialogues with governments. If they really want to know what the special rapporteurship on torture is trying to do, they could just call me, except for obvious confidentiality of some sources. If people ask us for confidentiality to protect their safety, everything else we do is so transparent that it's kind of surprising to see that there would be any kind of request for an operation to find out what we are trying to do.
It's interesting to think about. You're saying they could just call you, but they're talking about taking your iris scan, your fingerprints, getting somehow your DNA, some of your biometrics information. What could they possibly want with this?
That's right. I have no idea. That is actually more than puzzling. That's troubling because obviously, you know, they.
Have you been invited for tea recently with any U.S. diplomat, Juan Méndez?
No, but I've actually read the leaked cable, and it's not clear to me that when they're asking for that kind of you know, privacy-related information, that they're talking generally about UN officials. Whether they mean special rapporteurs is kind of open to question, because we are not UN officials. We are volunteers who do our work as experts on specific human rights themes, and so they may be referring to other UN officials. But even then, it's very troubling, because you know, we do need to protect privacy rights. And especially with the potential for that information to be used by others with bad intentions, I think that is troubling to me.
Let me ask you, these revelations, some in the U.S. media have said this should not be a major shock. Intelligence gathering is part of the diplomatic process by the different officials, diplomatic officials from different countries. But is it your sense that the other folks at the United Nations are shocked in any way by the level of effort that is being made by, especially by the State Department? We're not talking now about the normal spies of the U.S. government, but by State Department officials to gather this kind of information from fellow diplomats?
I cannot speak for others in the UN. Frankly, you know, I speak with a relatively small number of people who helped me in my task as Special Rapporteur on torture. And I can't comment on areas of the WikiLeaks that are completely outside my mandate, like spying and things like that. What I am really worried about is that we seem to be focusing on whether disclosing these cables is legal or illegal, whether it merits some kind of action against Mr. Assange. We're not really discussing the merits, the substance of what some of these things reveal. And in my case, for example, I'm very concerned about the documents that show that literally thousands of people were first imprisoned by American forces and then transferred to the control of forces in Iraq and perhaps even in Afghanistan, where they knew that these people were going to be tortured. That's a very clear violation of a standard that applies to the United States as a signatory of the Convention Against Torture, and I want to know what's being done about getting to the bottom